Hello. If you're listening to this, you're probably wondering, what is a bonus morning roast podcast episode? Because you've never seen this in the feed before. Well, I'm here to tell you what it is, guys and girls. It's just a bonus morning roast episode. If you've been listening to the podcast, me and Dave, my homie Dave, he's sitting right here on camera, but he's not on the mic. He's just working at the desk while I record this. Dave and I deep dive into topics every single Wednesday. We call them morning roasts. They're just deep dive into different theories and ideas and conversations. We just talk about all kinds of shit under the sun. Usually it's things that you guys are asking questions about, and we answer them. People are liking them, so we decided to make a 5th episode each month. We're already doing 4. We decided to do one more because we're nuts. And we provide that to all of our Patreon supporters. And we wanted to share a little bit of this month's 5th bonus episode, which we call Fuck You Bids. And I love that title. My homie Travis Lloyd said it to me in conversation the other day. And to me, basically, Fuck You Bids in this whole conversation, it's an interesting theory on how you can throw out fuck you bids with the hopes, and usually sometimes it works, of making more money than you normally would on a job. So we kind of talk on budgeting and the theories on how to deal with clients and shit like that. And I just think it's a very, very valuable episode. So we're going to play like the first 5 minutes of it. If you want to hear the whole thing, it's like 30 minutes or something like that on Patreon. It exists there. So go to patreon.com/BlackWindowCream. Support us on there and you'll get instant access to that episode and every episode that we put out after that if you are supporting or whatever. So patreon.com/BlackWindowCream, and let's jump into the episode right now. And we're back. I love that intro. Fuck you bids, guys. Fuck you bids. I was on the phone the other day with my homie Travis Lloyd. We had him, damn, I wonder what episode that was. He was early on the podcast.
Probably like 8.
8 maybe? Yeah. Travis actually got me into podcasting, which I don't know if you know this, but he recorded an episode with me. I think I had just directed the Little Dicky shit for EA, and he had like these Shure microphones and like built his own little travel kit and shit, set it up in my apartment. It was really cool. Anyway, we never put that episode out. But Travis is a public speaker, entrepreneur. He's grew up in foster care, so he speaks to that demographic. He talks to a lot of like I'm always terrible with the terminology, but like social justice workers and different people that would work with foster care kids to try to help create a better environment for kids that grow up in foster care, coming from someone who did do that shit and was honestly told that he wouldn't survive or make it past the age of 18, and he did. And now he has a construction company that he built, which is thriving. He public speaks all over the US, which is really dope. But anyway, we were talking the other day, and we were talking, he's kind of like he's my public speaking coach and manager for that shit. So he's dealing with all these new inquiries I'm getting to speak and shit, which is weird, but it makes sense because he's good at it. And so when we were talking about the bids and how we do that shit, and it was just kind of like this awkward thing. And I just was like, I don't have time to do low hanging fruit jobs anymore. Like, I just don't have fucking time for it. And we threw out an offer for some of my stuff, and he called me back the other day and was like telling me how inspired he was off of me pursuing this shit from his perspective of having done this his whole life. He's like, dude, you just made me think differently about my time and my value. And he's like, and I started doing like what I call fuck you bids, where when my clients hit me up, the clients that I think might not want to throw the money down, or they don't know what it costs to do something, and my time's valuable. So instead of saying, oh, I'll come out for a 3-day trip for what, I don't know, however much he charges, like 10 grand, he'll say, I'll do it for 30 and just see what people say. And that's a fuck you bid. And there was like a science behind it, which I thought was dope. And I told you about it because I was like, yo, fuck you bid is like a really tight word. Phrase. I don't know. Do you remember me telling you about this?
Yeah, I thought it was dope from day one.
So I don't know. I thought it was a good thing that we could talk about today, and just like the art of fuck you bids. And we did talk about some stuff similar to this in our guide that we created.
Well, yeah, the reason why we thought it was so interesting is because we were writing the guide at the time. And, you know, the guide has a bunch of awesome info, motivation, and like back story / like explanation of how to think about when you charge clients. And this is like purely a confidence thing. And when it works, it's proof that there is no science to it, and that you shouldn't be so like not confident and like self depreciating when you're charging for clients, because at the end of the day, you set your price. Right. So like a fuck you bid is when if it works, it proves to you like, oh, okay, like how much power you really do have over what you make as a freelancer. Like there is no thing that says what you make. So it's up to you to go out and get it. And then if you can put a fuck you bid out there and prove it and justify it, then you could be making more money than you think you can right now. So
hell yeah. And I think there's multiple ways of attempting to charge a client, right? And when we say guide, we're talking about the How to Charge a Client guide, which if you're listening to this right now, it's not finished yet. Our goal is the 15th, I think, but I think we have to push it a few days because our boy Ian, who's helping us design it, shout out to Ian fucking for helping us, is on vacation, and we don't want to really fuck up his trip because we just went on vacation, so it's our fault.
We just went on vacation.
But it's coming together. The writing is all done. Now it's just about getting it designed and looking cool and shit. So we're putting it together. But
we're really excited about it, by the way.
We're super fucking excited. This guy is fire. And if you guys like this shit, then we're going to keep making more of these in different topics. I think this is going to be totally worth it. But so in the guide, we also talk about several other ways that you could go about like kind of sniffing out a budget or deciding like what your rate is or whatever. And I just think fuck you bids are one element of it, which like Dave said, comes with confidence and shit, and there's a reason why. But it's also about you as a creator and like what you value your time at. And that's when I feel like it's appropriate to have a fuck you bid, because you might charge $30 an hour and the going rate's like 10 for something, right? And everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck is that? To you, that seems normal because everyone else on earth would get $30 for an hour, but for some reason in your little area that you're at, everyone only charges 10. So it seems absurd. So you have to justify why that's okay to do. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Anyway, I want to call Travis because I think he said he'd be down to just riff on this for a second, but this will be cool. So if you guys haven't listened to Travis's episode, definitely do it. Episode 8, maybe. You got to hear it. Trav.
What?
How are you doing, dog?
Good, man.
So you're on the podcast right now.
Oh, dope.
Say hi to my Patreon beauties.
Oh, Patreon beauties. I love y'all.
So I've already told them who you are, what you do. I also suggested that they listen to our podcast. All right, if you guys want to hear that full episode, it is available on our Patreon page, patreon.com/blackwithnocream. Go there, find a tier that suits you, and unlock that entire episode to hear the rest of it. We appreciate you guys' support, and we fucking love these morning roast episodes. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. See you next week, you bitch!